By the way, last night, Jeopardy, the greatest of all time episode, this was a clue.
In 1998, football fans debated who was the NCAA's best quarterback, Peyton Manning or this Washington State University Cougar. Their pro careers went opposite ways.
Okay. Cool that you were a clue on Jeopardy.
It's kind of a backhanded compliment.
I don't know if it was backhanded. It felt like it was
pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I got a lot of messages. All of a sudden, my phone starts blowing up, and I'm like, "What's going on here?" You were just an answer on Jeopardy. I was like, "Okay,
yeah,
okay."
Kind of surreal.
I've been a janitor on The Simpsons, and I've been now on Jeopardy. So I think I'm gradually making it into the pop culture.
Wait, I didn't know you were on The Simpsons.
Yeah, they did a commercial. It was, of course, it was a straightforward slap in the face. I was doing a commercial in my jersey selling mops. Yes. So.
Did you voice
my
it?
life's gone full circle. No, I did not voice it. So.
If they ask you to voice it, would you voice The Simpsons?
Of course.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
But when did you embrace this?
Right. That's the difference. Probably when I got out of prison, right? Just. It doesn't cost you anything to be self-deprecating. It doesn't cost you anything to not take yourself so seriously. And that was my problem for a long time. I just took myself so seriously because I thought I was the end-all be-all, and what you were saying was stupid, and I'm smart.
Well, I go back to that one clip where you're in the locker room with the Chargers, and the reporter's asking you a question, and you just go off.
Well, he wasn't asking me a question. He actually kind of baited me, and the camera didn't get the whole thing. I kind of moved him into that chair politely with my body. And then the cameraman spun around from the other side of the locker room because he was doing an interview and caught the infamous me yelling at the reporter. Yeah, that was it. I just thought I was more important than everybody else.
If I would have told you, and I think it's 5-year anniversary in December that you got out of prison. It was in December,
yeah.
Okay. Because I remember, at the time, how can we help you? Because I truly... And Paulie was really instrumental in wanting to stay in touch with you because for some reason we felt there was something, you were vulnerable. The question is, would you understand your vulnerability?
Yeah.
And then what would that lead to? If I would have told you that day you walked out of prison, in 5 years you're going to work at ESPN as an analyst, what would you say?
I've said that over and over. I was like, I think you were crazy, right? I work for the Disney Corporation. And when I walked out, when you and I, first time you guys saw me again was in San Francisco at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that moment, if you're like, look where we are right now and where we are at this moment. And, I got up this morning and I went and did a hit on SportsCenter. And then I drove down the road here to see all my friends who've been really instrumental in rebuilding my life because of your support. And I just live in a ton of gratitude. And if I can express that at all times by not taking myself very seriously either, I think that's important.
Yeah, learning to laugh at yourself and it's hard because people did poke fun at you.
And they continue to do so, and that's fine because it's not important.
Well, you're always the poster child for you and Jamarcus Russell.
Right.
For there have been a lot of quarterbacks who have been bust.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I think Jamarcus Russell because Mike Mayock or somebody said it's the greatest pro day sure thing that he'd ever seen.
And the money. There's so much guaranteed money.
Yeah.
I was drafted alongside arguably the greatest to ever play. And we were neck and neck. So everybody's like, well, look at the expectations on the young man. And for me to fail so terribly, I think plays a ton into that. So I understand it. I'm not going to be defined by it, maybe from my NFL career, but what I get to do with my life moving forward isn't going to be defined by some moment for 3 years in the NFL, because guess what? That's fleeting. And the average length of a career is like 2.8 years in the NFL. So there's a lot of us out there.
Did you ever have a good Jerry Jones story when your years in Dallas?
Yeah, they were.
Or you were a year in Dallas?
Yeah, a year and a half in Dallas. And to work for him is special. He's as loyal as they come. If you wear that star on your helmet, so he was one of the best owners to work for. He loaned us his plane one time, me and Clint Sterner and Wade Wilson, our quarterback coach, to go up to Montana to a cabin up there to spend time with our family.
Wait. How's that work?
I went and asked him. We got to go up there.
You didn't say, can I use your plane?
No, I asked if we were going to rent one to go up there. And I was like, maybe I'll just hit the old man up for this. hey, he let McCarthy spend the night at his house. So I'm like, let's.
Did you ever go to his house?
Yep. When I first signed there, it's a beautiful place in Turtle Creek, or at least it was. I don't know if he's moved.
I think it's still there.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. This like round rotunda of a library, all wooden. Like,
are there are there a lot of pictures, paintings of Jerry Jones in there?
I think Merlin Olsen.
Wait, there's a Merlin Olsen painting?
That's a Ron Burgundy right there.
All right, you got me. All right, man.
No, it's a beautiful house. He's a great person to work for. I don't know what's going to happen there. It's interesting to me.
Okay, I want to know what their identity is, because Mike McCarthy comes in. He's a guy who likes to throw the ball.
Yes.
Are they going to be a pass first or a run first? If you were advising Mike McCarthy, this is the style of offense I'd run in Dallas, what would you say?
Well, I think if Mike McCarthy looked at his greatest years in Green Bay is when they were really balanced with Aaron Rodgers and they were able to run the football. And I think particularly the year they won the Super Bowl, they did both of those really well. So I think he's really, salivating at the idea of Ezekiel Elliott running the football.
Is this 50-50 running, passing, or is it 60-40 passing, running?
Yeah, probably more like in the 60-40, 55-45 realm. I think it's going to be rather even, and it needs to be, because you got the best guy in the NFL at doing it. You feed that horse, let him do what he needs to do, and let Dak be good at the play action and getting the ball down the field.
Yeah, that's what I always. And you need sustainable drives. You keep the year that they were 13-3, they kept the defense off the field.
Yeah.
So when the defense came on the field, you got the impression the defense was actually better than what it really was.
I was interested to see what Jerry Jones was going to do with McCarthy in terms of the staff, because he's always been a guy that's hired a head coach and then really put a staff together himself rather than having the head coach put that staff together.
Do you want your head coach calling plays?
If my head coach in college called plays.
I look at Sean McVay, Andy Reid, Kyle Shanahan. I don't know if they're great clock management guys
because they're so invested in what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if I have an offensive coordinator, I want him to do his job. I can be an advisor. I just don't want to have my head coach calling plays.
Well, it looks like they're going to hold on to Kellen Moore, which he had a job offer up at the University of Washington where Chris Peterson, his old college coach, is a mentor and just left the job there. So I really thought that the answer to what his ambitions would be is if he were willing to stay there, knowing he probably wasn't going to get to call plays. Kellen Moore may have a lot more influence in this process, and he's really good at time management. Maybe he is more game management side of things and is able to talk to Coach McCarthy when this is playing out.
What do you make of Tom Brady's Instagram?
Well,
what is he saying?
Well, I think what I really love about Tom Brady is he's the best that's ever played the game, and yet he still has enough self-awareness and perspective to put out a message like that, where he says, we've worked our tails off. You find who you are in failure.
But who's the message meant for?
I think it's really meant for the people in that building.
But don't they know that? I thought it was strategic that he's saying to the fan base, thank you for 20 years. I want to come back, but it's not up to me, basically. And this is a message to Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft.
I think it's a known. I think if you heard Robert Kraft talk, he said he wants him back. Brady clearly wants to be back.
I don't think Belichick wants him back.
Well, that story played out through the Garoppolo situation years ago. Belichick's a pragmatic enough person where he would go, hey, I know where we're at right now. The question is, would you have given up, let's say, the 2 Super Bowls? What was it, Atlanta and the LA Super Bowl?
No.
If you were to have Garoppolo now
I would
through
still
the
make
process.
that decision.
Yeah.
I would still have made that decision because I don't think Garoppolo wins those Super Bowls. Maybe he gets one. Maybe. I've yet to see him in a big situation.
Now the question is what they do in the draft.
Would you take Andy Dalton in New England if you're Bill Belichick? Would you take Andy Dalton now over Tom Brady now?
I wouldn't take anybody over Tom Brady.
No one.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna. I don't think they put the pieces around him this year. You watched a couple of those throws in that game against the Titans. He still can get it done. They just didn't have the pieces in place. He's not the same, of course, but I'm not. If you put me up against any quarterback in a situation, I'm going to take Tom Brady until he says I'm hanging him up, just because of what he's been able to do.
Well, I would never bet against the Patriots.
Right.
Okay, but I thought Brady was a detriment to the team this year.
I looked back and looked at some throws late in that game and see if he was late. And I tell you what, Tennessee played some really good defense. They did. And he could have been maybe a split second faster on some of his throws, getting the ball out of his hand. But, I mean, think about this. If Edelman doesn't drop that ball,
I know.
We're talking about something different now. The game is this close.
Yeah.
They're about these types of things in those football games. And if he feels like he can come back and do it, I'd love to see him as a Patriot. I can't imagine him in another uniform. I can't. And it may very well likely happen, though.
But if I said he could go to the Colts, he could go to Tennessee, he could go to the Chargers. If you could place him somewhere other than New England, save your answer. We'll come back with Ryan Leaf right after this in the Dan Patrick Show. Ryan Leaf, now working for the mothership as an analyst there, and the number 2 overall pick in the 1998 draft. All right, so before the commercial break, I asked you the question, if you could place Tom Brady, and I gave you Tennessee, Chargers, Colts, in order, which ones where would you start?
Probably Frank Reich. Probably Frank Reich's situation. I will say this. There's something to be said for the fact that Tom Brady's been in the same offense for, I don't know how long. He went from McDaniels to O'Brien, back to McDaniels. He knows it like the back of his hand. He'd have to go learn a new offense. And I can't tell you, I don't care how smart you are, how great you are at it. Sometimes it's about where you're at. Peyton Manning may be the only one that I can associate where he went to a different ball club and excelled.
But he brought his offense with him.
Pretty much. And Adam Gase kind of, fiddled with it with him, and they made it into what it was. But also the Super Bowl that year, he was almost a detriment. The defense won that game for them. So it will be interesting. So
you would do Colts for Brady?
Colts, Chargers, Tennessee. Because I think Tennessee likes what they found in Ryan Tannehill in a small sample size. I wouldn't be surprised if they signed him to an extension. I mean, they've kind of been in that gray area quarterback, like good enough, but not great enough. What they do this weekend, up against Baltimore will be really, really interesting. But
do you see more quarterbacks coming out? I know we're looking at these quarterbacks now. You can't really replicate Lamar Jackson.
No.
But this is a copycat league. You can't replicate Patrick Mahomes. You have a better chance replicating Patrick Mahomes than you do Lamar Jackson. So what is the future at that position or offenses in the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks?
Well, I think it's that model. It's going to be dual threat. Even Ryan, look at the 4 AFC quarterbacks, right? Patrick Mahomes can move and throw on the run. Ryan Tannehill, you got Lamar Jackson, and so that's Deshaun Watson. So that's the look in the AFC. Now the NFC is still a little more drop back.
Well, Rodgers still athletic. Russell Wilson,
very athletic.
Very athletic.
Yeah. So I believe it's going in that direction.
Is Garoppolo athletic?
Well, I mean, one of the only times you've seen him run is when he tore his ACL stepping out of bounds, right? So,
but if you look at Trevor Lawrence, he's athletic.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert, athletic.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, I don't know if he's considered athletic.
I think he's really, really athletic. Joe Burrow, really athletic.
Yeah.
So this is where we're moving to. And the collegiate scheme of what they're doing in offense, it's moving to the pro game, right? More RPOs, more run, zone read, letting the quarterback do some more things. So I suspect that's where we're going to go at the quarterback position. And we have a few holdouts still hanging there, like you talked about. Aaron Rodgers is athletic, but if he could stay in the pocket and just zip it around, that's his bread and butter.
But if I said Trevor Lawrence is available this year and Joe Burrow.
Well, I'm a Trevor Lawrence fan. I drank the Kool-Aid of Clemson long ago. So if he could be drafted this year, I believe he'd be the first guy picked, just because of his size, his strength. He has all the athletic ability.
But is he capable? And I know Burrow is a couple of years older than him, but is he capable of doing what Burrow did this year? I mean, he had arguably the greatest season a quarterback has ever had.
Yes, he has.
Efficiency-wise, he had. I didn't see progression with Trevor Lawrence this year.
I saw progression. I saw early on he was the face of college football, the Heisman Trophy
front runner,
and simply pressed too hard. And he had a great room of wide receivers, and he threw the ball up a little bit more than he probably should have.
Okay.
Luckily for them, Travis Etienne's on that team, and he took care of everybody for the first 5 games. But since that North Carolina game, the Louisville game as well, Trevor Lawrence has 22 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, right?
Are you picking Clemson?
I am picking Clemson.
Outright. Really?
Yeah, they went against the spread. I mean,
Okay.
if you're out there, people, and you like to, venture out for entertainment purposes,
yeah.
run with Clemson plus the, what is it, 6.5, 7 points? Yeah,
5.5.
yeah, run.
Is that what it is, Paulie?
5.5.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, run away with that.
Really?
Yeah.
Clemson wins outright.
Clemson wins 48-38.
Paulie, call my guy.
On it.
Or is it your guy?
My guy.
My guy's no longer living.
I got a guy. I met him in prison. I'll give him a call for you.
Did you ever place a bet?
I bet on the Falcons, Green Bay, back in the day when I was out of the league a few years and in Vegas. And then I bet on New England over Pittsburgh.
So you went into a sports book and bet?
Yeah, in Vegas.
So you weren't like that guy from the Cardinals who went in while he's still with the Cardinals and placed a bet. Like, why didn't he just go in his uniform?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I wasn't playing at the time.
Yeah. But do you guys, how aware, well, this has been a while, though, since you played, but how aware of you guys, or were you guys of the point spreads, when the game?
I wasn't. We weren't aware of it. I wasn't personally aware of it.
Yeah.
I didn't even, I heard that we were either favored or not. That made us either think in our minds we were underdogs or not.
Okay. But you didn't know, like, hey, we're 6-point underdogs and we can cover.
No.
Okay.
No, never even crossed
I'm trying
my
to
mind.
get you in more trouble. You haven't been in trouble in a long time, Ryan. I'm trying to get you in
We're
trouble.
trying to be better people today. All right.
All right. So Clemson is going to win outright. Would you take a chance on Tua Tagovailoa? If you're Miami.
That's hard for me because he's done everything in college to make you believe he's going to be a great quarterback. I just, for whatever reason, don't know if his game translates to the next level. And there's nothing against the kid. I think he's amazing. He throws the ball more accurately down the field than I think I've ever seen a quarterback in college. To your point a little bit earlier, the game's changing. It's more about getting outside the pocket, doing things differently. And every time he did do that, he got pulled down. He got chased down. He got injured. And that for me is a red flag. It just is. But I believe that there's going to be a team, if they feel like he gets a clean bill of health, they're going to reach for him. And Miami is a very good place because they got all the first-round draft picks. Also, I wouldn't step away from the Los Angeles Chargers doing something with him and letting him sit behind Rivers for a year. But it's going to be a redshirt year. He's not going to play in the NFL next year.
Yeah, and I think that would be great. You keep Fitzpatrick in Miami. If I'm the Dolphins and you're sold and you get a clean bill of health, a scout told me, though, he will be the most scrutinized player at the combine. He won't do any drills.
He won't do anything.
But they put you on the board. Explain that when you go to the combine. I don't know if you did it, but they put you on the whiteboard.
Right.
And then they say, all right, here's the play, or how does it work with quarterbacks?
Well, he's going to excel at that, right? So he's going to be at the combine. He's going to do the interviews, and he's going to excel at that. He's going to do the schematic stuff up on the whiteboard with the coordinators and things like that, and he's going to excel at that. He's going to excel at the things, and there's enough tape out there on him that scouts are going to be able to look at.
It's the medical is what they're going to be.
The medical is going to be the last thing, but also I feel like if you feel like it's going to change at the next level, like guys get faster, bigger, stronger, right? The ability to chip, that was the biggest change for me. Like I could run away from the 300-pound defensive lineman in college. And then all of a sudden the first time I decide to loop out of the pocket and I figure I'm going to get on the outside just fine. And then you got a guy like Warren Sapp who's 320 pounds who runs a 4.4 and he pulls you right down and you're just like, whoa, where am I?
Welcome to the NFL.
Yeah, welcome to the NFL. It was a different deal.
It's great to see him. Glad you're doing well, and your boy MacGyver.
Yeah, he's getting big, that fella. But maybe we'll get.
He's got a lot to live up to with a name like MacGyver.
I don't know. He lives up to it. I tell you that. He's the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah, well, you have reason to be proud. And he's only 2 years of age, right?
Yeah, he's like 2.
So he's already 6 foot tall, right around
40 inches, 3 feet 4 inches already. So
it's great to see you.
Thank you. You
great
too.
to see you. Ryan Leaf.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.